Merry Statesmas, Matt.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Statesmas.
We are live a little under 13 hours from the start of the 2021 Western States 100. Of course, there was no Western States last year. It was canceled due to the pandemic. And it is Statesmas Eve. So you are dressed quite appropriately, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm just getting ready to deliver all the Statesmas goodies.
So there's a lot of Statesmas goodies here, a lot of stories to talk about, and we've got some predictions. It'll be a short show. We are super stoked this year because, well, mainly there's a live stream. The folks over at Western, and of course Hoka and Billy Yang and Debo and Corinne, they're all putting on an amazing live stream. We've caught the the pre-race interviews and a bunch of the other things happening in Olympic Valley, and tomorrow we will be able to experience Western in a way unlike before.
Yeah.
Previous to that, I was a lot of following Twitter. Obviously, there'll be some of that, but I'm excited to see what unfolds.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to follow along with their coverage, and I'm excited that they are bringing us that coverage. And I'm going to lose this beard before it falls into my mouth, but I'm going to keep the Santa suit on.
You put the beard on longer than I thought you would have it. But if you would keep there we go. Well, it is Statesmas again. If you are just joining us, it is going to be an exciting race. So if you're joining us and in the chat, ask your questions. We'd like to hear your predictions for the men's and women's podium. Maybe even throw down what do you think the winning times will be. And, so we just dive into some stories here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there are so many stories. I think that that is definitely where we should start off. And I think that the first story is the biggest story. Yeah. The news that broke yesterday, if you could call it breaking news. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago where Jim Walmsley unveiled his Strava data.
Jimbo. Well,
prior to that,
let's actually pull this up. So prior to the Jim unlocking his Strava, which we'll get to in a bit, was Jim announcing on Instagram, on his social media, that he had an injury, and that's why he'd been quiet.
Yeah, I think that set people in a frenzy. Myself included.
Yeah, to a point where I believe we'll get to later. We'll see if he ended up on either your podium, my podium, or Jamil's podium. But right now we woke up to the news of his Strava data. And,
and Jim, being the marketing guru that he is becoming, the savant, posed the question on Instagram right here. Is anyone interested in actually seeing the training? And then he let it fly.
How many comments did he get on that? Almost 10,000 people liked it, but
a lot.
Strava wanted to see it.
Yeah, I mean a lot. I don't know if I can see the exact number in this iPad view.
We can only imagine.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And so let's go ahead and look at
Let's take a look at the Strava data.
And so you can see right here, May 10th to May 16th, 125 miles with 34,000 feet of gain. The very next week, 125 miles with 38,000 feet of gain.
No big deal.
The very next week, 125 miles with 42,000 feet of gain. And then he starts to bring it back down, 115 miles with almost 38,000 feet of gain. 110 miles with 25,000 feet of gain. This isn't a Jim Walmsley, typical training block.
Right.
But that is a better 5-week stretch than most other humans.
It's as we can actually see it. I believe for some reason there's a side-by-side of you and Jim, and if I consider you most other humans, you're not even close.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely not close. I was good enough to beat you earlier this month in a race, but as you can see there, I'm averaging about 9 miles per week over the last 4 weeks, and Jim is averaging 101.6.
Classic.
So we're there's levels to this, I believe is what the children say, Rob, and we are on completely different planets.
I'm going to have to agree. That is essentially the case. So basically, Walmsley is a complete beast. And
He's
despite
back.
an injury, we could potentially see the best Walmsley yet. Of course, he has the course record at just under 14 hours, 10 minutes.
Yeah, 14:09 and change.
He broke that. The previous record was also his at 14:30:04. So I gotta pose this question to you while we're on the topic of Jim. Where I already know that teaser. I already know that he's not on Matt's podium.
Oh, do you though?
Did you change it last minute?
I haven't made my podium public. I could still change my
I have
podium.
a graphic that has not yet been updated. So that's we said we had to lock it in
We
before,
never know.
before the pre-race
never know.
interviews happened with Debo and Corinne, because we didn't want any inside information. So it was like, I wanted to be fair game. So before we get to the podium picks, my question for you is, does Jim break his current record?
No.
The course record?
Well,
no.
this year?
Yeah.
No. It's going to be a hot year, I think.
It's going to be a hot year.
Well, I think. The weather forecast is showing that it's going to be a hot year. I think temps in the 110 to 112 range tomorrow.
It's going to be 104. Latest weather report in Auburn,
In
at
Auburn.
least 104.
I think in Olympic Valley or maybe in the canyons it was going to be a little bit hotter. However, no, I mean that record isn't going down tomorrow. It's not going down tomorrow.
Keep in mind, Timmy Olsen, the year he ran 14:46, I believe it was like 105 or 107 in the canyons.
It's probably going to be upwards of 110 down there. And you're asking if could Jim run 14:46? Maybe. Could he run 14:08? No. Like it's different. It's different when you get like
it is different.
When you get a few extra degrees in the canyons and then you get an extra half hour faster.
Yeah.
It's just different. However, if anyone is going to run 14:08 tomorrow, which no one is, it would be Jim.
I don't know. Yeah, you're probably right as far as the heat goes. But let's move on for a sec, because I feel like we could talk about Jim all day, and we'll have all day tomorrow to watch and just see what he does. Jeff Browning, I want to bring him up because Jeff Browning is solid. He's got a handful of Western States finishes. I believe all of them in the top 10. His time not last year because there was no race, but in 2019, the last time the race was held, was what was his time? 15. It was 15:55, which was just 15:55:06, which was just about
10 minutes?
just under 10 minutes off Mike Morton's Masters record. So does he take that down? I say no doubt Jeff Browning gets in the top 10. Bronco Billy has that race dialed. He just like Ian Sharman, he just has. It's no doubt that there's an M10 or below in his future. It's how fast will he go?
Yeah, I don't think he gets it. I think it's going to be a slower year, and I think that he could certainly finish top 10 and probably will.
Right.
But I think he's going to run a smart race, as he always does, and is going to run people down from the back. I think this is his 6th Western States, so he definitely knows the course, has the experience.
Yeah.
He's a veteran runner. I just think it's going to be slower than like a 15:45 making the top 10.
All right. Keep in mind, there's also a chance that Max King could take that time down.
Yeah, I mean, that's, to me, like a super interesting storyline is Max and Bronco Billy battling for that Masters record.
That's going to be a fun race to
Yeah,
watch
well, and they run typically two different styles of races. Max is a full send kind of guy.
off the gun.
Off the rip, he's gonna
Yeah.
burn it hot, which if it's a hot year could be problematic, but there's not going to be any snow really up in the high country, so it's going to be a little bit more runnable up there in the early stages of the race. So
Yeah, and we do have Ben Cook in the chat, making a good point. He's talking about when we were talking about Timmy Olsen. It was a cold year. I must have been thinking about this time he won the second time, but he didn't run that 14:46. But yeah, the temperature is going to play a difference. Keep in mind, Jeff is now a resident of Flagstaff, so I know he's been training a ton down in Sedona. So which is I think a great place as far as temperatures to go. to train for the temperatures at States. But
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Flagstaff is, almost a perfect place to train for most races, but specifically Western because you can get to Sedona, you can get into the canyon, so you can get some good heat training in, but you also have like more high alpine running as well with some of the mountains up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a little bit, we're going to bring in Jamil Curry to hear what he has to think about these topics, and I want to talk to his picks. But first, I want to bring up, speaking of Masters records, can we potentially see Ann Trayson's Masters record go down of 1826? You don't think so?
No.
Again.
No.
Again.
I think that record's what, like 1840 something? 1846?
No,
is that what you just said?
It's 1826.
1826. Yeah. No, I think that it's going to be a much slower race this year than that. Yeah, I just don't see this being a fast year. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before in my life, but I think that just how hot it is really going to slow it down, especially for some of the Masters aged runners on the ladies' sides. I mean, Magda being one of the first that comes to mind.
1816,
1816, yeah.
I
don't think that's happening this year.
10 minutes faster.
I mean, you got to think, what did Courtney run the year she won Western? Like 1730?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something around there. So, I mean, no, I don't see it happening.
It'll be interesting to see how the heat plays out. So,
yeah.
But before we jump into more of those big stories, we are going to see. Let's see if we can get ready to pull in Jamil in a sec.
Yeah, and once we pull Jamil in, we will get him and his picks here.
All right.
And then we will kind of keep the party going.
So we're going to bring in Jamil. And Jamil, you are live. We do have your picks on the screen next to you. We'll get to those in a second. First, I need to know, what's the scene like in Olympic Valley?
I just have one thing to say to you guys. Merry Statesmas.
Merry Ho, ho, ho. Merry Statesmas. Look, you got the boys in the background laughing, too. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Merry Statesmas over here. We got Lee over here. We're having a good time. We're refueling right now. It was a long travel day, and then it was straight into it. There's so many great people out here, and a lot of people we haven't seen in some time. So, it's great, just an electric atmosphere, I think, in general. It's so great to see people again. And so it's just catching up with old friends. It's really great. It's good stuff. We arrived just as Beth Pascal was checking in. And so we're out here covering the race with Solomon. So we've got our media passes. She checked in. We were hanging out at the expo, and they did the meeting. They actually had some rain during the pre-race talk, believe it or not. So it's kind of cloudy up here. It's actually a little chilly, but that is not going to be the case tomorrow in the canyons and down near Auburn. Still supposed to hit triple digits.
Awesome. So I want to cut right to it. You said Beth Pascal. She is at the top of your podium picks. So you wanna kind of run through why she's at the top of your picks, some of your thoughts on there, because for our viewers at home, you've got Beth Pascal and Tim Tollefson, who I might have to say, the fastest hair in Olympic Valley based on what I've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. So Beth is the top of my pick. I most recently saw her at the Canyons 100K where she dominated that race. And just what she did last year, and then going straight into UTMB, I think it's one of the best turnarounds in the sport. And I think she just was up in Flagstaff in Arizona running the Grand Canyon. I think she's in a good headspace, and I think she's going to crush it.
That's awesome.
Solomon, a little bit biased, but no, I really think, despite that, I think, it's such a talented women's field, honestly. They pulled all of the top 10 up there during the pre-race meeting, and it's incredible. Like, there were so many women that I, had overlooked that are on this entrance list. It's really amazing stuff.
So now let's shift over to the men's side of that first place. You've got Tim Tollefson. Did you ever get any sightings for Tim? Did you see Tim Tollefson at all out there, or just Beth?
Yeah, I haven't been able to connect personally, but they did bring Tim and the other top men up as well. So we got to see them all kind of line up, and they were, rattling off all their credentials, which is awesome to see. Yeah, I mean, I think for Tim, I'm excited for him, number one, just running Western States. And for so long, he was locked into just doing UTMB year after year. And it's awesome to see him kind of expand his horizons, because I think he's going to really excel at just the 100-mile distance in general. He had a great race at Javelina, and I think I wouldn't expect anything less from him out here at States. He knows what to expect out here, and I'm excited to see what he can do.
Awesome. Question for you, Jamil. And I know we have your picks up on the screen here so the viewers can see. Are there any stories to watch, in your opinion, going into tomorrow?
That are on my picks, or just in general?
In general.
Oh, man. I mean, there's probably 315 stories, or how many starters there are going to be. Man. Yeah, I mean, there's so many stories. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, Max King coming back. I'm excited for that. We've got, I think, one of the oldest attempts at Western States this year. It was really cool in the pre-race meeting to hear so many like Black Canyon podiums and Javelina podiums. So I feel a little bit of a draw to our golden ticket winners at Black Canyon as well, that kind of earned their way in. So like Mariah Vargas making her way in is pretty awesome to see too.
Amazing. So could you tell us?
Actually, real quick,
yeah.
I do have one more story to share that I don't think has been out there yet much. But Susie Kramer, who's on the Aeroviper racing team, little plug for her. She's running Western States. She broke her toe some point, like it's currently still broken. And she's shooting for a sub 24-hour finish. And then she's riding the Tevis Cup, which is the horse race that preceded Western States, later this summer. I think it might be like a month later or something. There's only a handful of women that have ever done that in the same summer, and I think that's going to be one to watch.
That is incredible. I didn't even have that on my radar. Yeah, that's the race that Gordy got Gordy out to run on the trail with the horse. Yeah, so that's an incredible story to watch.
That is.
Yeah. I mean, 24 hours with a broken toe alone, that's a story, but
yeah. That's going to be rough.
Incredible. So the last question here is, can you tell us, so what are you going to be doing out there? Are you going to be kind of leapfrogging around the course, getting some media?
Yeah, I'm going to be following along with look at a little Billy Yang sighting here. What up?
Billy.
What?
Hey, Bill. How's it going? Congrats on the live stream. We're super stoked to watch it.
Oh, okay. What's up, guys?
How you doing?
Learning a lot from this guy.
Where were we? Sorry.
Your media plan.
Yeah, so we are. I'm out here with Solomon, and we are filming Max King and Beth Pascal. So if you guys follow at Solomon Running, you'll see some of the content we capture. We've got Jubilee Page from Aerovipe out here helping to take some photos, and I'll be out there shooting some video. We'll be posting throughout the day, and we'll also be cross-posting some more general content with the rest of the field if we see some cool stuff out there over at Steep Life Media.
Right on. So we'll check it out at Steep Life Media, and we will be watching the live stream so we can feel like we are there, but we're going to have big FOMO, and we're definitely jealous that you and Jubes are out there on the Western States Trail. Matt, you got anything else for Jamil?
No, thank you so much for joining us and dropping some knowledge on our wonderful viewers out there.
Thanks so much.
Take care, Jamil.
See you guys.
All right. So there you have it. Jamil with a live update from Olympic Valley. And let's take a look. He's got, so again, Beth Pascal, Tim Tollefson, Brittany Peterson, Jared Hazen, and Ruth Croft and Max King in that order from first through third. That is, yeah, I think that's quite a respectable podium.
For sure. For sure. I mean, like he said, there are.
Let's bring those back up. For a second. And again, this photo. This is when Jamil ran Western States. This is a sans long hair Jamil, unless it's tied back under that trucker.
Yeah, I don't know. This might be a short-haired Jam right there. Why is that picture there?
Because Jamil is working, and this is Jamil in Western States. We wanted people to see Jamil has the experience, not only just because he knows everything about the sport.
He's done the race. And we have photographic evidence right here.
There it is right there.
That is amazing.
I mean, you saw
I've seen it before, but it's still hilarious.
You saw him flexing his 100 Western States belt buckle around the office all week.
Hey, I would too if I had a Western States buckle and it was Statesmas. Yeah,
come on,
I'd be wearing it everywhere. So
100%. So should we jump into our predictions or any other stories before we jump into? Well, wait, there is one story I do want to bring up, but it might actually it'll naturally come up when we talk about our predictions. But that is basically a heated rematch, if you will, between Brittany Peterson and Claire Gallagher from 2019.
The soiree in the Sierras.
Yes. That was the last 7 miles or so of that race was, if that happens again, I'm stoked because there should be footage of it happening.
Yeah.
And that'll just be even more exciting than I remember hearing about it a couple years ago. They're running together, and then Claire took off, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think she won by 7 minutes total, and most of that was in the last 6 or 8 miles or 10 miles or something like that. So over the course of 100 miles to win by a mere 7 minutes is pretty insane.
Yeah, and looking at the chat, we've got JC, who we did confirm is not Jamil's burner account.
Yeah.
During the Tiger Bennett live stream, he's saying no Jim, or he or she is saying no Jim Walmsley or Claire Gallagher in the top 3 for Jamil's picks. Well, I would say that's interesting for not having Claire in there. I understand Jim because we did make these picks before Jim unlocked his Strava. It was the only intel we had is that Jim said he had been injured the majority of his typical build-up period.
Yeah, so we will see how it pans out. But, I think that not having Claire is kind of interesting. I know she took basically all of 2020 off from racing. I believe I heard in an interview that she was doing deep sea diving or snorkeling, stuff like that. So she was living her best life, and so I think that's important too. You got to stay, especially in a year like 2020. You got to stay mentally fit and mentally ready. But I mean, if she's towing the line, she's ready.
Yeah, 100%. So let's just jump right into our picks, and then we can talk about what we've got going on. We'll bring those up in a sec. Wait, I want to talk about. So we both have Brittany Peterson on the podium. Tell me why, for you've got Brittany Peterson.
Well, I think her run in 2019 showed how game she is. She went toe-to-toe with Claire Gallagher, which is always an impressive feat, right? And then her recent fitness. I mean, she ran an incredible race at Black Canyon, and she has a lot of course intel. I think that her significant other is a part of the iconic Lind family, which I think that's not what makes Brittany Peterson great. Brittany Peterson is great because of the work she puts in. But she does have the ability to get, a lot of intel and course information from people who have been around for decades. But that isn't those people aren't what make Brittany Peterson who she is. She's just friggin' incredible. But her Black Canyon run was super impressive.
Absolutely. Yes, and that's exactly why. Watching her, firsthand, when I was out on the course during Black Canyon, it was absolutely unreal. She finished 9th overall, Black Canyon, and just completely threw it down. And she's been heading down to the Western States Trail from Idaho and training on the trail. So for me, I think it's we both have Brittany on the first, so we'll see how that lays out. Now let's go on the men's side. You got who I am again saying the fastest hare that I've seen based on all of the interviews that we saw. Did you catch Tim
The
Tolliver's
backpack
hair?
boy himself.
Yes, he was
rocking
fit
the Hoka backpack
and fast.
Yeah, looked fit, looked fast. Hometown kid, grew up in this area. Likely the first trail race or big trail race he had ever heard of growing up. Tim is, I could go on and on about why Tim Tollefson is great. And why I have so much respect for him. One of the things being that he comes from a similar background as me, from like a collegiate track and cross-country background. And he's just game. He's always game. He knows the trail. He knows the conditions. He ran an incredible race at Javelina, which, again, not the same as Western States, but does provide you with some of the heat elements. So I'm super stoked on Tim Tollefson to have a homecoming party as he finishes his final lap around the Auburn track, a place that I imagine he has been to a number of times growing up.
Right.
And I noticed, Rob, you have you got Tyler Green there.
I got Tyler Green.
If
I'm
I
calling
do
a Black Canyon golden ticket.
Is there any bias there?
Potentially.
Okay.
Was
just asking.
The fact that I got to interview them both before Black Canyon, got to kind of like know them, get in their mindset of like how they run, watch them in person run, interview them both after their race on the spot. Yeah, there's probably some bias there, but it's for good for good reason. Tyler Green, like he was my pick at Black Canyon. I was like, he's my pick for the win at Western. Even before Canyon's 100K happened.
Yeah, he's insane. I just like giving you a hard time. Tyler Green is an amazing runner, and is doing a lot of like great things. I think that one of the interesting things is I think he has kind of a race style that maybe suits this course a little bit better, where he doesn't traditionally go and just burn it hot from the front like some of the other runners here do. He's calculated. He's not going to run from the back per se, but he is a little bit more calculated with the risks he takes. And I think that, like you can see, he's not on my list. I think that just shows how deep the men's field is. And then us having two pretty much opposite ladies' second and thirds also shows how deep the deepest women's field in Western States history
is going to be insane. I can't wait to.
Deepest women's field in Western States history is what I would be willing to throw out there.
Yeah, it's just. I am so excited. We are, we'll know. I don't know. I've got no words for both sides of the race, but.
Why don't you dive into your ladies' second place real quick? Because I noticed that this is where we start to differentiate a little bit.
I didn't notice this now until you could actually say I'm completely biased.
I saw this actually in the chat and was thinking this.
With Black Canyon, these three women did very well at Black Canyon. Addie did not have the race that she had hoped. She already had a ticket in the Western. Hit me with it, Matt. What do you got?
Well, you also picked men who have performed well at our races. Also.
You know what?
Stephen Kirsch, Crown King champ.
Okay.
Eric
I was going to get to
second place at
Stephen Kirsch, literally, I was at the finish line unprepared with my camera to take a photo of the winner of Crown King, the Crown King 50K, which is a steep scramble that goes from Lake Pleasant up to Crown King in the Bradshaw Mountains here in Arizona. And we had gotten word that the leader was on his way, because it's pretty remote. It's, if you watch the Cocodona coverage, it's that same area. And all of a sudden, Stephen Kirsch just like comes rolling in, super humble, and then he's just like chilling in the finish line, just like I barely got a photo of him. Literally, it was like the worst photo I've ever taken. because he was partially not in the frame because nobody was prepared. He just missed the course record, I think, by a few minutes, by 3.5 minutes. But watching that performance, that really made me pay even more attention to him. And that's why I've got him on the podium. Plus, Flagstaff is always on the podium.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it would be – I mean, Tyler, for me, like I had to commit to giving him the top spot since February 13th.
And then you committed to giving Stephen Kirsch the second spot on
that was
in April, and then you decided. Can you just go ahead and roll out your third place men's pick for me,
ladies and gentlemen? The sensible choice, Eric Sensman. At Black Canyon, I saw the fire in Eric Sensman's eyes. Eric
Sensman, I love Eric Sensman.
He's got the best stash at States. He's incredibly fit, incredibly determined. When I talked to him before and after his finish at Black Canyon, I was like, oh, this is the year. This is the year for Eric. He's going to perform well no matter what, but I'm like, this is the year for a podium for Eric. So, I know you disagree.
I'm trying to keep it together here and avoid – look, Eric, I don't think you're going to watch this, but if you do, I love you. I think you're an incredible runner. I think that you're due for a great day. I would have you in my top 10, and that's where we're going to leave it. You're amazing, Eric. TCU.
Eric Sensman's on the podium. If not, you're buying me a case of non-alcoholic
I did.
IPA.
That is a wager.
Make that bet. Eric Sensman on the podium, or he buys me a case of
no. If
IPAs.
Eric Sensman's on the podium, I buy you the case.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yep. Sorry about that.
Awesome.
Let's talk about your picks real quick.
Yeah, so I want to dive into my ladies' picks because I think that Jared Hazen is Jared Hazen. I think he's incredible. He could very well win this thing. Max King is someone that I think a lot of people who come from like the track and road side of things look up to. I think he's due for a big run. But I want to dive into the ladies' side because one of the key stories, and again we mentioned this, is the Claire Gallagher versus Brittany Peterson show. I think that Claire is super fit. I think that earlier this year she actually did a shorter distance race, maybe like a 25 or 27K, and broke her old course record. So she's coming in game, and she's an amazing person. Like, I think that one of the things that I took away from listening to some of her interviews is she got to the point in 2019 where, like, a flip was switched late in the race where she was like, oh, this is a race. Like, we're going to race now. And she just threw it down. And I think that that's amazing, and I have so much respect for that. And then Ruth Croft making her 100-mile debut. She has been incredible at the 100K, 120K distances. I believe she went to college here in the States, but she is a Kiwi. She's from New Zealand. So my wife being from Australia, gotta love the Anzacs, the Australians and New Zealanders over there. And I think she's just extremely talented. I think she's fit. I know that at one point last year she had done a big marathon training, like road running block. So I think that like the more runnable stretches are going to suit her really well, especially up in that high country where it's not going to be a lot of snow. It's going to be pretty runnable. I think that she'll be able to handle the heat, and I think she's going to run onto the podium. That being said, I mean, there are a ton of other women who could easily find themselves on the podium, which is what makes this live stream that Western States is going to be bringing to the people tomorrow such an incredible thing to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing to not just hear about it all unfold or read about it all unfold, but really watch it all unfold. So again, shout out to Western, Hoka, Billy, Debo, Corinne, and everybody else involved with that. And do you want to talk about Max King to wrap up your?
Yeah, I mean, Max is incredible. One of the other stories to watch, whether Max finishes first or third or fifth, is Max chasing the Masters record as well. So that's another interesting thing to
where he doesn't look a day older
to follow. Max, I'm not going to reveal his age, but he is in the Masters category now, and I believe that record is 15:45. If I'm not mistaken, and some change. And I believe the last time Max ran here was either like 2014 or 15, something like that. And if he runs the exact time he ran that year, he would break the record by a minute or 30 seconds or something like that. So, what will be interesting to see with Max is he is typically the type of guy who wants to send it from the go and just let it fly and run out in the front. And if it's as hot as we're thinking in the canyons tomorrow, that could be detrimental. I know in interviews he said he's going to hold back early. I don't know whether he'll be able to stick to that game plan or not, but I hope that he is able to.
Yeah. So I like your picks. I like Jamil's picks. Obviously, I feel great about my picks. Looking over to the chat now before we go. A few people think that I'm so wrong. Megan says, I think Rob's men's list might all miss the top 10.
I was about to call Megan out because I'm don't have good eyesight, and so I thought that said I think Rob and Matt's lists might all miss the top 10. And I was like, who is this?
Full attack on
who
me
is this calling me out in the chat? But thank you, Megan, for going at Rob and letting me see another day. But I think, in all honesty, I think both of our podiums on both sides could miss the top 10 because that's how deep both fields
stacked.
are. I find it hard to believe that all 6 of both our picks, so our 12 total picks, would miss. Obviously, there's some overlap, so it's only like 10 total people or something. But for them to all miss top 10s, I think is unlikely. But your men's list, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, it could pan
I
out.
Don't think so. I think we're gonna see 2 Flagstaffers on the podium, and of course Tyler Green, narrow green arrow, taking it home. But a few more.
It's going to be the Senseman show tomorrow, according to Rob.
It is. Eric Senseman is the sensible choice. That's all I'm saying. I'm going to get a shirt made. If he takes more than 3rd place, I will make a shirt and make you wear it.
I'll wear it. If Eric Senseman finishes in the top 3, I will wear whatever shirt you make on the next live coverage that we do, and I'll buy you a case of non-alcoholic IPAs.
It's going to be a good day.
So I'm adding to this. So Eric,
we got some we got Ben in the chat agreeing about Senseman. So right on, Ben. There's several Bens in the chat, and I do want to bring up Ben Marks does ask, and this is my final question for you. Honest opinion, what do you think Jim will place? Since we didn't put him, again, to remind you, we did not put Jim Walmsley, not even Jamil. So none of us have Jim on our podium picks.
Do you want to answer first?
Why. I mean,
where you think he'll finish?
Well, here's the thing. If you had asked me like a day or two ago, I would say, I don't know. I think he might have a rough go, and maybe DNF. But then he unlocked his Strava, and I was like, well, Jim's going to win. I guess we're shifting all my picks back. So
I'll jump in, Rob.
Yeah,
in Jim we trust. After seeing his Strava, I am all on the Jim Walmsley train.
Yeah.
I know that my picks are my picks, and I'm stuck with those, and I am fans of all the people on that list. Jim Walmsley's 5-week training block for Western States might be the greatest abridged training block for this race that I have personally witnessed. That doesn't mean there aren't lures out there existing, but 325-mile weeks with 37, 38, 42,000 feet of gain, and then, I'll do a 115 and 110-mile week after that. I mean, if his body held up through that, which it apparently did, because if it didn't, he wouldn't be getting to the starting line. His fitness is going to be there. He's not going to have these high expectations of can I break 14 hours or not. I think Jim Walmsley is back, and is he going to show everyone who the King Cowboy really is?
The King Cowboy. I think there's a great chance. And again, with the new intel of seeing his Strava data, it's what you say. It's Jim's race to lose at this point.
That's how I feel.
It's Jim's race to lose.
And you know what? That's one of the things that makes it so exciting to follow along tomorrow.
It really is Jim's race to lose. And Ben Logston in the chat Logsden, sorry for the mispronunciation there. He said, Rob, are you worried? Tyler has been training in the cool Pacific Northwest. That is definitely a concern and something that crossed my mind. But after seeing him at Black Canyon, I made my decision on the evening of February 13th, and I said I wouldn't change my mind there. I'm going to do my best to be a man of my word, and so I have got the narrow green arrow himself, Tyler Green, Pacific Northwest or not, he's going to be bringing a cougar back to the PNW.
So you're saying that the cougar leaves the great city of Flagstaff?
Maybe.
I mean, my pick says that too. So
we basically have two different picks because of this, because we both also just said it's Jim's race to lose with this new intel. So there's a lot of probability that the cougar stays in Flagstaff. There's a lot of Flagstaff runners in there.
Maybe Sensman brings it home.
Sensman would be amazing. If Sensman brings it home, they should put a mustache on the cougar.
Yeah, I think they should
just
build
for a
like
year.
a statue of him in downtown Heritage Square.
Yeah.
He could be
Who's got the
temporary.
better stash, him or Tim Tweetmeyer?
Sensman for sure.
Yeah, for
Sensman, best stash at States for sure.
Had Prefontaine run Western States.
Sensman.
Oh, okay.
I mean, could
Sensman
Sensman keep up with Pre for 400 meters? Probably not. But we're talking just stashes here, and Sensman's got a good one.
Kevin Lara, what's up, Kevin? Worst case scenario, Jim gets third. That's a
Jim doesn't get third. Jim either wins or he DNFs.
yeah.
That's not a shot at Jim. Jim just sends it so hot that he is either going to just run away from everyone or he's going to epically blow up.
Could we have an all cowboy podium?
I mean, yeah.
Less cowboys in the mix this year, but
There's only
three,
right?
Yeah. Is Cody?
Well,
Cody's not running, but if he was, is he still?
Well, does
technically a
Bronco
cowboy?
Billy, is he honorary cowboy
Maybe
now?
he's an honorary cowboy. I mean, he's got the name. Just give him the.
I'm just
let
saying.
him into the group.
I mean, that'd be the best welcome to Flagstaff as an
It would
ultra
be.
runner, right?
It would be great.
They present you with like a certificate of honorary, an honorary cowboy.
Yeah, they give you like a hat
Yeah.
and a buckle.
Maybe a T-shirt.
We'll see. There are a lot of amazing stories across the entire race. Of course, as Jamil brought up, we're just gonna have to watch it all unfold. You know, it's Statesmas Eve, Olympic Valley to Auburn, 100.2 miles. We'll see tomorrow. We should know by 7 p.m. Pacific time. That would be a 14-hour.
Well, we'll probably know how the race is gonna pan out.
Yeah.
Ish by then.
Oh, maybe. I mean, if we have another repeat of a Brittany Clare, throwdown
Yeah.
on highway.
That would just be on the men's side too. The women's side, it'll be a little bit later into the evening.
Well, if you're just joining us, I want to thank you guys. Sarah in the chat does want to know what Matt is wearing. So if you are just joining us, we are wrapping up our prediction show, our Western States prediction show coverage. But Matt is enjoying Statesmas in the right kind of fashion because it is Statesmas Eve. I don't know how I haven't lost it just watching you. He found that downstairs.
2 minutes to air.
2 minutes to air, and we made sure that you even put together the red hat. I'm really impressed. Question is this the same Santa suit that Jim Walmsley took the Camelback record in on Run Steep Get High video fame?
I don't know. Do you think we can ask Jamil?
We could probably confirm that.
We'll have to confirm that. And
he's no longer in the room, but we should have asked Jamil when he was on the air. But again, if you missed it, once we're off the air, go back and watch this. You can hear my picks, Matt's picks, Jamil's picks. We check in with Jamil, who is live in Olympic Valley with Jubilee. He'll be
the Solomon squad.
Yeah, and
I
the Solomon
believe.
squad. He'll be doing some media for Solomon, some media for Steep Life Media. Of course, again, big shout out to the folks at Western States and Hoka, Billy Yang and his crew, of course, Debo and Corinne Malcolm, and everybody involved. They are putting on a live stream. They've obviously had a lot of live stream coverage, and they will be live streaming the race tomorrow. So check that out on the Western States. I believe it's WSER for Western States Endurance Run, WSER 100
I believe,
YouTube
yeah.
channel. So check out their channel for that. We're stoked. And any final words, Matt?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm like a kid on Christmas Eve here. I'm excited for the coverage to kick off in less than 12 hours, and I'm super stoked for Billy and Western States and that team of individuals to be bringing this to us because we know all the hard work that goes on behind the scenes and how difficult this stuff is to put together, and for them to put in all that work to do this to help move the sport forward, I think is super important, and I'm so grateful for.
Yeah. Well said. couldn't have said it better myself. The last thing I will say is we'll see Sensman on the podium, and I'll see you on Monday to talk about it. Matt and I will not be on air or anything this weekend. I do see a couple questions about that in the chat. We'll be watching from the comfort of our own homes, maybe a smartphone on the go. I don't know. So tune in to their live stream, and we'll see how the race unfolds. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the like button, and stay tuned on social media at Steep Live Media for the next live stream.
One other thing, Rob, I think that we could make a last-minute announcement here.
Hit me with
as
it.
well. Our next live coverage.
Our next live coverage is coming up. Kendall Mountain Run, Silverton, Colorado. Matt and I will be live in Silverton. Will you be wearing the Santa suit in Silverton?
I mean, if it's needed. If it's needed. But, yeah, make sure you stay on the lookout on our socials, both at Air Viper Running and at Steep Life Media for that announcement coming next week. But we're excited. We're excited to tune in to what Western States is bringing us tomorrow. Again, super important for moving the sport forward, and we'll be bringing you more coverage on our end here soon. So
until then, Merry Statesmas.
Ho, ho, ho.